I was talking to a Syrian Muslim, and I was telling him about some verses I know in the Quran. For instance, Yunus 10:64, which says, "The words of God cannot be changed." Or An-Nisa 4:164, it says that God spoke directly to Moses. Or Al-Madai 5:46, it says, "The Torah is the words of God." Or Fatir 35:31, that says that the Torah is the truth. And he said to me, "Hey, all what you said is true. Those are all in the Quran. But the thing is that the Torah is thousands of years old, and it's changed, and it isn't the same as it was when God gave it directly to Moses." So I told him that that's very interesting, but the thing is there's a equal distance letter code in the Torah that is so complicated that it wasn't even discovered until a man named Eliyahu Rips wrote a computer program, and the computers can find it, but it's impossible for human beings. An example of this is in the Torah, right here. If you go to the book of Genesis, and you go to the first paragraph, you'll find the first T. Then you go 50 letters, you'll find the O. Go 50 letters, you'll find the R. Go 50 letters, you'll find the H to spell Torah. Now, the exact same thing happens in Shemot, Exodus. You find the first T, you go 50 letters, you'll find the O. Go 50 letters, you'll find the R. Go 50 letters, you'll find the H. Now, the Torah phenomenon, which is a 50-letter skip, does not happen in the middle book, Leviticus. But in Numbers, it happens again, except it spells Torah backwards. Here's the H, here's the R, here's the O, here's the T. Now, in Deuteronomy, it does it in the second paragraph. Here's the O, 50 letters, here's the R, 50 letters. Here's the O and here's the T, 50 letters apart. So in the first book, in first two books, in the last two books, you have Torah pointing to the middle book, which is Leviticus. And if you go to the first paragraph in Leviticus, you can find the Yod, which is the first letter of the name of the God of Abraham in Hebrew. And then you go 7 letters, you'll find the H. Go 7 letters, you'll find the Vav. And 7 letters, you'll find the Hey. So this is an example of a 50-letter skip and a 7-letter skip. And you have Torah pointing to God. So Torah points to God. But the point is that some of these equal distant letter codes are thousands of letters long. And that proves that the Torah that we have today is the same Torah that God gave directly to Moses, because if one letter in those 1,000-letter skips was missing, the code wouldn't work. So because the code works, we know the Torah is the same, and that is like God's certificate of authenticity upon the Torah. So how this gets really interesting is that in Genesis 15:18, God is speaking to Abraham, and he makes a covenant with Abraham, and he says, "All the land from the Nile River to the Euphrates River, I'm going to give to your descendants." Now, in Genesis 21:12, God says to Abraham that the promise goes through his son Isaac. Now, the interesting thing is that Isaac is Yitzchak, which is 4 letters. If it was Ishmael, Ishmael is 6 letters. So again, the change of the 2 letters, the Torah code wouldn't work. So we know that God gave to the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob all the land from the Nile River to the Euphrates. So what part of the Quran aren't you following? God said that the words of God cannot be changed. God spoke directly to Moses. The Torah is the words of God, and the Torah is the truth.